Today we're going to be reviewing the Martin Luther stamp that I talked about in the intro and announcements episode, which is going to be this episode, but then it never turned into that episode because I got busy and the intro turned out to be longer than I thought it would. So today we're going to be learning about this stamp. This stamp was issued by the U.S. on November 10th, 1983, exactly 500 years after his birth, because he was born on November 10th, 1483. It measures 25 by 40 millimeters, and the denomination is 20 U.S. cents. Martin Luther helped shape world history. He was born on November 10th, 1483 in Eisleben, Germany. Soon after his birth, he moved to Mansfeld and considered it his birth town. 1501, Martin entered the University of Erfurt, one of the best in the country. When the plague struck, he was afraid to die because he thought he had not done enough to please God. On his way to college, he got caught in a thunderstorm and yelled to St. Anne and promised to become a monk if he lived. Martin thought that living like a monk was the surest way to please God. He became a monk at a monastery and did more than what was required. He was never sure God would accept him. He looked in the Bible for answers and kept reading about God's anger towards sinners. He confessed to a senior monk sins, but that didn't help either. In 1510, Luther went to Rome hoping to get God's forgiveness. He climbed up the steps the Roman Catholic Church said could give you and others forgiveness. When he got to the top, he wondered if this was more business than based on truth. In 1512, at age 29, Martin became a Bible professor. Have you ever heard the saying, when a coin in the coffer rings, a soul from purgatory springs? Well, when Pope Leo X needed money quickly, he decided to sell indulgences to get people and loved ones a shorter stay in purgatory. The Catholic Church believes this is a place where you're cleared of your sins before going into heaven. Purgatory wasn't pleasant. Martin believed that this gave people false hope. Was the church allowed to shorten the punishment of God? He came up with 95 theses in which he sent them in Latin to the archbishop who put out these sales. He also nailed a copy on a church door in Wittenberg. Someone in Germany translated these 95 theses to German, and they went viral. The Pope's theologian wrote Luther back that the Pope could not be judged even if he led people by the crowds into the possession of hell. Luther did not take back what he wrote, and when he found out that the Pope's officers were ready to take him back to Rome by night, he left. The son of a German emperor named Frederick, the son of a German emperor, gave him protection though. Okay. Romans 1:17 troubled Martin because it says that the gospel reveals God's righteousness, yet the gospel is supposed to be good news. To Martin, this knowledge of God's righteousness was hardly good news because it revealed our unrighteousness as human sinners as compared to him. As he prayed and discussed this with other teachers, he found out that this meant if you repented through Jesus' death and resurrection, you are righteous. By the way, the reason why I'm reading these parts is because my script is kind of like heady where I wrote these parts, so I just want to get them right. Anyways, Charles V invited Luther to an imperial meeting at Worms called the Diet of Worms. There, Luther did not recant what he had written. Luther said, "I do not put my faith in popes or councils alone, who contradict each other and themselves. My conscience is captive of the scriptures. I cannot and will not recant, for it is neither safe nor right to act against one's conscience." Charles V said Luther should be condemned. While Luther was being transported, his friend Frederick the Wise, who was the German emperor's son, kidnapped him and brought him to his castle. While Luther stayed there, he translated the Bible from Greek to German, so anyone in his land could read it. He decided to leave the castle and come back to Wittenberg to tend to the violence breaking out. He preached for days to help and encouraged people to show understanding and charity towards each other. When ex-nuns came to Wittenberg, he decided to marry one of them and start a family. While Luther was on a trip to Eisleben, he got a series of heart attacks. On February 17, 1546, at the age of 63, he got his last one and died. Martin Luther accomplished many things in his life, and his translation of the Bible helped the German language. His greatest accomplishment is that he boldly challenged the Catholic Church on works replacing grace. Thanks for watching Season 1, Episode 4 of I'll Be Stamped. That was about Martin Luther, of course, and I'll see you next time. In 1512, at age 29, Martin became a Bible professor. Have you ever heard the saying, when a soul from purgatory, when a soul